Let me say first of all that this video will not be me just trashing Alex Albon or anything like that, because we've all seen Alex struggle this season with getting to grips with the tricky 2020 Red Bull car, which has led to some poor results in the early parts of the season that sadly have continued throughout 2020. Now, I've been putting off making this video for pretty much the entire season because although we've seen that he's been struggling with the car and struggling to integrate himself within the Red Bull team, people have been on Alex's back pretty much all season long, and I wanted to give him as much time as possible to really try to develop and improve over the course of the season before I really decided to give my thoughts on what's best for him and Red Bull going forward. However, it's been 12 races now, and with only 5 races to go before the end of the season, it's very obvious that Alex is both not comfortable in the environment that he is in at Red Bull, and also that he just isn't ready yet to race in the top team fighting with the drivers up front for regular podiums and maybe even the odd race win when the opportunity presents itself. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about why time is up for Alex at Red Bull for now, and why the best thing for him next season is to go back to Alpha Tauri and continue to develop until he's ready to return. In terms of the quick stats, in the 12 races we've had so far, Alex has had a best finish of 3rd at the Tuscan Grand Prix in Mugello, scoring his first career podium, alongside a 4th place in Styria and 2 5th places in Hungary and the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. Now, in reality, those results just aren't really where they need to be, but it's when you look at the championship standings that things really get complicated. As of the Portuguese Grand Prix, Alex finds himself down in 8th place in the championship behind Ricciardo in the Renault, Leclerc in the Ferrari, Perez in the Racing Point, and Norris in the McLaren. And where it gets even more worrying is that just 1 point behind Alex in 9th is Pierre Gasly in the Alpha Tauri. And the fact that every single driver I just mentioned drives for a different team on the grid, in my opinion, that is very significant. In my opinion, there is no doubt that Alex is a quality driver, and what makes me feel sorry for him most at the moment is that although I, along with many others, think that perhaps he's not quite ready to be at Red Bull just yet after what we've seen this season, especially with how Red Bull as a team are operating at the moment, there is also a ridiculous amount of people, especially on social media, that have started to spin the narrative that he isn't even good enough for F1 and that he shouldn't even be in the sport. Now, I think those people are either Albon haters or have absolutely no clue about F1, because Alex proved in 2019 during his time at both Toro Rosso and even when he got promoted up to Red Bull that he is, as I said, a quality driver with lots of potential going forward. He was decent in qualifying during his rookie season, and although when he got to Red Bull he never outqualified Max Verstappen, he did actually manage to match Max's time at Suzuka, which is a real driver's track, proving that he did have quite good raw pace that just needed to be developed. But what impressed me most of all about Alex was his racecraft on a Sunday and the way in which he was able to overtake his way through the field, especially in the Toro Rosso, and score points on a consistent basis. However, in 2020, he has struggled to take his game onto the next level. The biggest problem for Alex is that he's never looked 100% comfortable with the 2020 Red Bull. Now, obviously, there's the argument that the car is completely built around Max and that anyone who steps into that car won't be able to drive it. And whilst no doubt there is a lot of validity to that argument, Max has also kind of deserved that right to have the Red Bull team be built around him. I mean, why did Ferrari build their car around Schumacher and not Barrichello? Why did Red Bull give major new upgrades to Seb rather than Mark Webber when they were teammates? Throughout F1 history, teams have always developed the car around the best driver on the team, because at the end of the day, and putting drivers' feelings aside, it's the #1 driver who is most likely to win you the title. He's the one who is getting paid the big bucks. He's the one who has the most pressure on his shoulders. He is the one with the long-term contract, and that is why he is the one the team wants to fully support and back more than anyone else. It's a really horrible truth that I don't think many fans like to see, but I do kind of understand it because that is just how Formula 1 works. Now, I'm not going to pretend to be an expert in F1 car design because obviously I'm not, but no one knows categorically, and everything we're talking about now is just speculation in terms of how involved each driver was with the development of the car in 2020. But I'm sure that there is, in terms of car design, there is always a fine line between making sure that your number one driver can deliver to the best of his abilities, but not going so far over the line that the car is just undrivable for anyone else. And I think that Red Bull themselves, mixed with the inexperience and maybe even hesitance of Alex to get too vocal about car development, I think they might have just strayed a little bit too far over that line. And something else that I really quickly want to throw in as just food for thought for you guys, and I'm looking forward to your input in the comments below. Red Bull haven't designed a championship capable car since arguably 2018 when reliability massively held them back, and definitely 2013 when they last won the title. Now, is this just the result of poor development from the aero guys, or could it be due to Max being the sole focus of the team? Is Max, despite his immense speed, the reason why Red Bull car design just hasn't been good enough to regularly challenge Mercedes? I don't really know. Again, it's just food for thought, but I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys think about this. However, going back to Alex, when it comes to the car, although nothing is confirmed, it has been reported that Max and Alex just have very different driving styles. Max likes a more pointy, sharp front end that he can really play with and doesn't mind a bit of rear instability which he can control, whereas Alex struggles when the rear of the car is a little bit more unstable. This was an issue even in the last race, as Alex said that he struggled to control the car in the last corner, which meant that he was compromised going onto the main straight and meant that he struggled to overtake.
Actually, once the tyres were up to temperature, the car wasn't too bad. It was just trying to overtake, and one place where we were struggling was turn 14, which was the last corner, and the only place you can really overtake you is turn 1. So it was tricky out there today.
However, the thing that goes against Alex, and despite all of these reasons for his struggles, is that top drivers in top teams, and we have to remember that Red Bull is a top team, they have to be adaptable, they have to be experienced enough to know how to drive around the problem so that they can improve as a driver, extract the maximum out of that car even if it doesn't 100% suit their style, because that is the role of a top driver that maybe isn't the outstanding number one talent on their team, the likes of Gerhard Berger against Senna, the likes of Irvine and Barrichello against Schumacher, of course Webber against Vettel, and even maybe to an extent Bottas against Hamilton. It definitely was not easy for those guys, but all of the names I just mentioned are top drivers, even if they are not world champions, because they have those skills, they have that ability, even if they're not the number one talent on their team, and Alex is just not experienced enough yet to have developed those skills. Now, despite some of the community having a false notion that Red Bull want Alex to fail and that they aren't even trying to help him to be more comfortable in the team and in the car, that is just not true. They have improved the car over the course of the season, and even Alex himself in Germany said that he felt much more comfortable compared with how it was at the beginning of the year, and they even changed up the team internally by changing some of his engineers to put more experienced people around him. But at the end of the day, there is only so much as a team principal and as a team that you can do to help your driver, because it's not the team that have to drive the car, it's Alex. The other aspect that Alex has struggled with is the pressure. When you're in a top team, there is always going to be pressure, some of which is going to come from the external environment like the fans and the media who expect you to perform when given a good car, and some of it is going to be internal from either yourself or even your own team who also need you to perform in a car that they've worked really hard to design and build just for you. And this is what Alex has also struggled to cope with in 2020. This year, with Ferrari falling into the midfield, Red Bull were left as the outright second best team on the field, with the second fastest car potentially, looking at what Max Verstappen has been able to do with it. This means the expectation for Alex this year wasn't to just finish in the top 6 behind the top 3 teams, it was to use the second best car on the field to be ahead of the midfield and Ferrari, and to finish consistently in that 4th place behind the 2 Mercs and Verstappen, and in the really chaotic races to also be able to grab the odd podium. Driving top cars for many fans seems like the easiest job in the world. I mean, we've all seen those comments about how overrated Hamilton is and that you could literally put any other driver in the history of the world and they'd be able to smash Bottas every single time and win the title. Well, I think seeing good drivers like Albon and Gasly struggle in top cars that are hard to drive, I think it just proves that although the car might be fast, it still takes a lot of talent, confidence, and experience in the form of a great driver to really deliver those results and make it look easy. To be honest, I think it just makes me appreciate the job that Valtteri did coming into Mercedes in 2017, a team and a car that were completely suited around Lewis, even more. However, even in that situation, we've got to remember that Bottas was going into his 5th season in F1 and not his 2nd. I think this is something that does not get emphasized enough. We very quickly forget that Alex is only in his 2nd ever season in Formula 1. Even when Ricciardo was promoted up to Red Bull alongside Vettel in 2014, Ricciardo had already been in F1 for 2.5 years, compared to Gasly, who had only done 1 season, and Albon, who was still halfway through his rookie year. Different drivers take different amounts of time to mature, gain experience, and really find their ultimate speed. I've said this time and time again on my channel, not everyone in F1 is a Lewis Hamilton who can come into F1 and match a 2-time world champion teammate as a rookie in his 1st year and then go on to win the title in his 2nd. Not everyone is a Max Verstappen who can come into F1 as the youngest ever driver and then in his 2nd ever season win his 1st ever race on his 1st time out with Red Bull. And not everyone is a Charles Leclerc who can come into F1 and get announced as a Ferrari driver within 6 months, and then in his 1st year for Ferrari beat a 4-time world champion, essentially forcing him out of the team in the following year. Albon is not a Hamilton, Verstappen, or Leclerc, and you know what? That is okay because no one on the grid is on the same level as those 3 drivers right now. F1 drivers thrive on confidence, and at the moment Alex just doesn't have any confidence in either his car, his team, or most importantly, his own driving ability. And I think all of this mixed with his lack of experience is why he's struggling to just grab the car by the scruff of the neck and just drive around the problem. He doesn't give off the vibe that he just can't wait to jump into that car next weekend to try and prove himself, try and grab that podium and bring a solid haul of points back and some silverware as well for himself. He gives off the vibe that he just can't wait to get the season over and done with. I mean, to be honest, even listening to his team radios from the last race, you can just tell from his voice and also from his post-race interviews that his confidence is just completely shot. I think in the end, for Alex, it was just too much too soon. Being thrown into a top team like Verstappen was in 2016, Leclerc was in 2019, and Bottas was in 2017, it's trial by fire, and that is what it's like being in a top team. I do also think that in a way, Red Bull don't get enough credit for actually believing in their young drivers and actually giving them the opportunity in the top team. Maybe the management of these drivers hasn't always been perfect, but at least they've actually given loads of their young drivers a chance at the main Red Bull team, even if it hasn't always worked out. In terms of Alex and his development going forward, a move down to Alpha Tauri I think is best for him. It will be an easier car to drive, which I think will allow him to regain some of his confidence and his mojo in 2021 before the big reset for all of the drivers in 22 with the brand new rule changes. His time at Red Bull, despite it not turning out the way anyone would have wanted, it will make him a better driver in the future. He now knows what it takes to make it in the top team. He now knows the pressure and the demands that are put on you as a top driver, and I am sure that at Alpha Tauri he'll be able to improve on his mental toughness, the way in which he asserts himself within a team, and also his skills at being a more versatile driver with different types of cars as he gains more experience. One thing that I have no doubt in is that if he does leave Red Bull for Alpha Tauri, we will see Alex Albon on an F1 podium again, and just like Pierre did this year, I am not giving up on Alex also being able to one day win an F1 Grand Prix. I believe in Alex, and I believe that he will come back even stronger next year. Now, of course, nothing is official as I am currently recording this video, but I think everyone can see the writing on the wall, which means with Alex at Alpha Tauri for 2021, a race seat at Red Bull does become available. A race seat filled with pressure, a race seat that will come with mammoth expectations, and a race seat that will come with a teammate who is possibly unbeatable in the same car. But a race seat that is so hot that if someone can take advantage of it, they will be able to challenge for podiums, race wins, and maybe even potentially and hopefully a world championship against the Mercedes in 2021. Now, as far as who, in my opinion, is the best driver to take Red Bull forward into the future and potentially take them to the next level alongside Max Verstappen, well, that is going to be the subject of my next video, so make sure you don't miss it. Well guys, there you go. Now let me know all of your thoughts in the comments box below. I cannot wait to see what you guys think. And if you did enjoy the video, then don't forget to drop a like, smash that subscribe button, and don't forget to check out my social medias. Instagram and Twitter will be above. And guys, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.